Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Robbie.
And I'm Liam.
And Disney's back with another adaptation, a live action adaptation of one of their beloved animated properties. This time looking at Winnie the Pooh, which I'm sure is the favourite of a lot of people out there, childhood favourite. It's called Christopher Robin. Here we go.
I do like a party.
Come on, Pooh.
What should happen if you forget about me?
Silly old bear. I won't ever forget about you, Pooh. I promise. Not even when I'm 100.
We should be working this weekend, Robin.
But I promised my wife and daughter I'd take them away this weekend.
All hands on deck.
You won't be coming to the cottage.
Well, it can't be helped.
Your life is happening now, right in front of you.
What to do, what to do, what to do. What to do indeed.
Pooh?
Christopher Robin.
No.
Christopher Robin was directed by Mark Forster and it stars Ewan McGregor and Hayley Atwell, along with the voices of Jim Cummings returning to do both Winnie the Pooh and Tigger. We've got Brad Garrett as Eeyore, and we've got a lot of other voice actors coming in to take over these beloved animated characters.
Yeah, and it's basically the story of Christopher Robin himself.
Yeah.
Traumatized by war. He's basically got a job, and he's got to do a thing for his
job, yeah.
work. And across this weekend, he was supposed to go out with his family, but he couldn't. And meanwhile, Winnie the Pooh has to find his friends.
Yeah,
and they bump into each other.
Yeah.
Really, that's it.
This is obviously a grown-up Christopher Robin now.
Yeah, he's an adult.
He's past his childhood and everything, and it's been like 30 years since his times in the 100 Acre Wood and everything. Before we move on with the review, did you watch Winnie the Pooh a lot when you were a kid?
No, I didn't. My sisters did. I do recall watching the Tigger movie a lot, though. That was one of my favourites. But I didn't really grow up with it, I guess. It was one of those things that I did like, and if my parents were going to put it on, I would watch it, but it was never something I was very, overly fond of.
Yeah, right.
What about you?
Yeah, I was a big Winnie the Pooh kid. When I was a kid, every Saturday, they had Saturday Disney on TV, and Winnie the Pooh was a regular. So every Saturday morning, I'd be watching Winnie the Pooh. I'd be watching reruns when we get Foxtel when that came in, and love Winnie the Pooh. Winnie was never my favorite. I liked him a lot, but Tigger was always my favorite. Tigger and Eeyore, I thought they were fantastic. But no, I loved all of them. And a bit like in the movie, it was I kind of forgotten about that part of. I never forgot about Winnie the Pooh, but I've forgotten how much I liked Winnie the Pooh.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I'm watching the movie, kind of all came flooding back.
Yeah.
It was a very. I know I've spoken to a few other people who had the same experience, who grew up with Winnie the Pooh and then kind of they've moved on from it and revisiting the film. The tone of the film is definitely a tone of nostalgia and looking back. And,
oh yeah, for sure.
And it was quite emotional at times, I thought. I definitely teared up a few times, and it's got quite a somber tone to it, really.
Well, when you get down to this film, it's really about finding the child within you again.
Remembering the child within you.
Yeah. Which is important because a lot of people lose it.
Yeah.
And I think it's key to the happiness of life is to be a kid in some way.
Yeah. I don't think that this will, while it is, yes, a Disney family film, I don't think it's going to be a big hit with young audiences.
No, neither do I.
Something I noticed when I saw the film this morning, a lot of the kids, 7 and under, were getting very restless during the film, while
Absolutely.
all the adults were completely glued to the screen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I saw it in a very packed out theater.
Yeah.
I saw a matinee.
Yeah.
And it was Yeah, exactly
Yeah.
the same. The kids were running around, being loud,
Not paying attention.
not paying attention,
Um,
but everyone else was
Yeah.
really, really fixated.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. I really liked the fact that they could have made a very much just a kids movie, but they made more of a mature family film, because I think kids from about 10 up would probably enjoy it, but even then,
But they wouldn't have probably that extra connection that the film I think is trying to go for.
yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
I think it's they could have easily gone like the Smurf route, where it's a beloved anime classic, and they modernize it and they make it
essentially,
and they make it yes, of course the Smurfs was for kids, but now if you're making a Smurf movie, you want to obviously appeal to the generation that are now adults that watch the Smurfs.
Yeah,
and I think the Smurfs film completely missed that. This one really goes for it, I think, and they do the smart thing where they make it appropriate for kids, but it's definitely while the marketing didn't do it justice. I think it tries to make it look like a kids' film.
yeah, it shows. It shows far too much of the characters, the animated characters.
Yeah.
Because when you get down to it, it's Christopher Robin's movie 100%.
Definitely.
And there is a lot of time on the screen where they're not in it.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean,
and
besides the opening, like every other animated character besides Winnie the Pooh isn't in it until like
much
halfway
further
through.
in. Yeah. And when they come in, they're definitely very present in the film. But like you said, this is 100% Christopher Robin's film, which obviously is why the movie is called Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
But and I think again that's was a smart move, because in the film Christopher Robin's grown up, like the audience who grew up with who watched Winnie the Pooh when it was doing its original runs, they've all grown up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we're watching this as adults who used to be kids watching the film, watching Christopher Robin used to be a kid as an adult, and there's that extra connection there, which works beautifully in the film.
And speaking of Christopher Robin, I thought Ewan McGregor was great.
Absolutely perfect.
Very, very.
As soon as I heard he was cast as Christopher Robin, I thought yes, he's the perfect Christopher Robin, and he did not disappoint at all. He was fantastic.
He hit all the beats.
Yeah.
He hit all the beats that was written for his character. Yeah. When he was, when he was being grumpy and not liking his life because of what he'd been put through, what he'd had to do for his job, he really made the audience feel for him.
Definitely.
But when he was happier and when he was fighting the heffalump and stuff like that, it was great.
Yeah.
You could see the child within.
Oh, definitely.
And I thought that he was fantastic in the role.
Definitely. You could feel the connection between him and these CGI. Because the CGI, there's no puppet work, it's all CGI.
Mm-hmm.
And
props to him for pretty much communicating with nothing.
Pretty much. And props to the animators, because I believe that I was watching Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and everyone. They did not feel like hollow, computerized characters. They felt real.
I was a bit hesitant at first because I saw the initial designs and I was like, not sure how I feel about it. But when you watch the film, it really blends.
It works.
It works well.
The kind of desaturated look that the characters have works because it's 30 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, toys fade. And so that really worked. While we're on them, obviously we've got Jim Cummings back as Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, which you couldn't have anyone else playing those two characters. Their voices are so unique, as are the others, but those two in particular.
Yeah.
So I was glad they got them back. They got him back for those two. Winnie the Pooh was exactly the way I remembered him. Right down to just the little mannerisms and the little quirks that the character had in animated form. They brought that to life in live action. Like even just how he eats honey out of the pot, like he sticks his whole face in it.
Yeah. Constantly getting stuck in things.
Yeah, definitely. And just his little words of wisdom, are perfect Winnie the Pooh lines.
Yeah, it's great because he's always saying very wise things, but it's never meant to be. That's just him just
like
speaking.
you said, he's a bear of very little brains.
Yeah.
And I loved how a number of times Ewan McGregor calls him, silly old bear. I was like, they have to say it. They have to say it. And they do say it a number of times. And then Tigger, who was my personal favourite when I was a kid. Tigger was perfect.
Yeah, he was great.
Same kind of just carefree, joyful personality he had in animated form. He even has a few little. I'm not gonna say what it is, but he does repeat a few things that he's famous for doing.
Yeah. He does.
The laugh is there. It's so good. Moving on to the other characters, I thought some were I was happy generally with all of them. Some of them less than others. The ones that didn't work for me as well were Piglet and Rabbit.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. Rabbit, yeah, definitely.
He didn't look like Rabbit.
He didn't look like Rabbit. Didn't sound like Rabbit.
No.
And it was Peter Capaldi, I'm pretty sure.
It was
as Rabbit.
Yeah.
And it just sort of felt off. But at the same time, I thought his characterization was still the same. Like, the character was essentially...
Definitely. But look-wise, I felt more like I was watching the March Hare from Alice in Wonderland than actually Rabbit.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
I don't know if it was the size, if he felt a bit too small, his colour wasn't quite right, because Rabbit I remember being kind of like a limey yellow-green.
Yeah.
Whereas he was brown.
Absolutely,
he was brown,
absolutely yellow.
Yeah.
And with Piglet, it was really quite disappointing to me.
Again, the personality was there. The voice was
so wrong.
Completely off.
Completely off the mark. And, I get it. You've got to replace people and everything, but it just, for a film that really tried to hit the nostalgia of people, it really missed the mark on a couple of the voices,
Yeah, definitely. One voice that is replacement that I thought hit the mark perfectly was Brad Garrett as Eeyore.
Oh, he was phenomenal. He was great. Eeyore was actually my favourite as a child.
Yeah.
And
Eeyore was a close second for me after Tigger. I love Eeyore.
And he was just great because, man, he's so deadpan.
I know.
He's so deadpan and
Brad
Garrett's
got that wonderfully deep voice.
Yep.
And he just accentuated it even more. And Brad Garrett can have, without it being boring, he does have a monotonous voice. And it works so perfectly for Eeyore.
Oh, it's great.
Like when you first see Christopher Robin, like you see in the trailer, and he's meant to be happy, and he's like, Christopher Robin.
yeah, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I thought he was perfect.
Yeah.
It's weird because, you have some characters that are just like exactly how you remember them, and then some that are just a little bit off.
Definitely.
A little bit off. And that's the thing, is like, if they were completely different, like Piglet was completely different, I think I would actually dislike it less.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
It's the thing is they tried to make it and it just didn't feel it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's almost there. The characterization is there, but it's just not quite right, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And besides that, I think the biggest problem I had with this film was the actual script itself.
Yeah, it's a bit too formulaic, I thought.
Yeah, definitely.
It relies a little bit too much on sentimentality, which was great. They hit the beats perfectly with that, but there wasn't anything really more to the film.
It did basically what it had to do.
Yeah.
It did every single beat that you would expect to see, had the hero, rising up and everything, but
it just didn't go that extra step to make it a wonderful film.
For sure. It was very close to being quite unique, in my opinion, but it's just sort of, because of it just going pretty much in a straight line, it sort of just completely threw away any inequity that it could have had, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't think the dialogue was overly bad. There were a couple of cheesy moments, but like, it's still,
you kind of expect
Winnie
that as
the
well,
Pooh was very cheesy, so
yeah, definitely.
And I actually liked when it like clashed, when you had the more grounded, realistic dialogue.
Yes.
But then some characters were a bit, like, some of the human characters were a bit...
In the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were a bit too cartoony.
I thought that was strange.
And it sounds weird saying they felt too cartoony in the Winnie the Pooh film, but that's the thing that the film tries to do. It tries to separate fantasy from reality. So for the reality bits to still feel a bit too cartoony.
Yeah.
It just felt a bit weird.
It felt like it wasn't supposed to be that way.
Yeah. Like the boss at the beginning keeps like knocking over things and I'm like, what are you doing?
It's very goofy.
It's very slapstick. I'm like, it didn't feel right.
And not only that, but it didn't get a single laugh out of the audience that I was with.
No one laughed in my audience either.
Yeah, that was strange. Yeah. But then, you do have those great moments with Pooh in the forest.
And Ewan McGregor and
they, it's really a mix of some really wonderful things some not so wonderful things, but it's also like nothing special in my opinion. Bear in mind, I do not have the nostalgic connection. I liked Winnie the Pooh as a kid, but I don't have an overall real deep connection with it. But I still thought that for what it was, I thought it was a very sweet film.
Yeah.
It was a very sweet film, but it was very by the numbers. But it has a lot of very nice moments.
Yeah, the film is special for me because it's Winnie the Pooh and it hit those nostalgic moments, but at the same time, it's not a special film because it doesn't go that extra step, like you said.
Yeah.
Compared to ones like The Jungle Book, which I thought did go the extra step, and that was, regardless of my love for The Jungle Book, it was a special film, I thought.
Yeah.
This one, it didn't go that extra step. What are you giving it?
I'm giving it a very strong 2.5. 2.5 stars. I was sitting there watching the film and I was like, this is very much possibly a 6. I always get confused with converting it. 3 stars.
6 out of 10.
Yeah, 6 out of 10, 3 stars, same thing. It's very much a 3-star film, but there were just a few things that I was like, oh, it's not really. It's not really. To me, it's just totally down the middle. It's good and it's bad, but it's just fine. You know, that's the way I see it. I think that a lot of people are going to love this film, and that's great. Because I really love it when people just absolutely gush about films, and especially ones that have, like, iconic characters that people love.
They're adorable.
They are.
Yeah.
They absolutely are. Yeah. And, I recommend it. I recommend it. Like I said earlier, I think that kids about 10 up would probably enjoy it.
Appreciate it more, and then obviously adults I'm sure will love it more than the kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What about you?
I am giving it a 4-star, which sounds high, but considering it's Winnie the Pooh, I would expect to give it a 4.5. But for those things we mentioned, Piglet not being quite right, not being right at all.
Yeah.
Rabbit not being quite right. The story being quite. Yeah. It's really about the connection of the characters, which I get that was the forefront of the film, but I think there should be more around it, and like I said, those few supporting adult roles that I think just didn't work at all. Just brings down to 0.5 star, unfortunately. But yeah, so it's still
strong. It's strong score.
It's still a very strong score. Just
sure.
I would have liked to give that extra half.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you want to give the best possible rating you can to something that you love.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah.
I just saw the most preposterous imposter. Look at him. Digger! Eel! Piglet!
If anyone wants to clap, now is the time to do it.
Oh, bother. Oh, dear.
I don't remember being cheery.
People say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day.
No, Pooh, that's not the... Oh, never mind.
Anyway, guys, those were our thoughts on Christopher Robin. Please be sure to let us know what you thought of this film, whether you have a nostalgic connection or not. We'd be very interested to hear. Keep an eye out for our reviews of Johnny English Strikes Again and the newest Australian release, Ladies in Black. Until next time, we'll see you at the movies.